Plunge into the eerie story of the grim sleeper who lurked in the corners of south-central Los Angeles. Witness the terror that unfolded in this busy metropolitan area as a quiet menace wreaked havoc. The tale begins with initial discovery of the murders shaking the city to its core. Brace yourself for a journey into the heart of darkness. A venture into the early years of the grim sleeper's reign of terror. The first string of murders, as chilling as they were, seemed to cease abruptly. Women, primarily of African-American descent, were being preyed upon. The pattern was clear, yet the killer remained elusive. The victims were left discarded, their lives snuffed out without remorse. Then, silence. A notable pause in the killings gave the city a false sense of security. For almost 14 years, the terror seemed to have ended. The monster vanished. This long period of inactivity was so unusual, it led to the moniker that would stick with the killer, the Grim Sleeper. Little did Los Angeles know this was merely the calm before the storm. The sleeper was not dead, only dormant, and the worst was yet to come. As the new millennium dawned, the Grim Sleeper awakened from his slumber. The murders resumed, more brutal, more frequent. The city was once again under the shadow of a ruthless predator. The Los Angeles Police Department, now armed with advanced technology and a renewed determination, reopened the cold case. The introduction of DNA technology was a game-changer in this investigation. The LAPD painstakingly collected and analyzed the genetic evidence from the crime scenes, connecting the dots that were once invisible. The killer's DNA left behind at the crime scenes became the silent witness to his horrific deeds. Meanwhile, across the city, a task force worked tirelessly, sifting through thousands of old cases looking for a match. Then, in 2010, a breakthrough. A familial DNA search led them to a man named Lonnie David Franklin Jr., a former city sanitation worker with no criminal record. His son's DNA, collected during a minor arrest, had provided a familial match to the DNA found at the crime scenes. The LAPD moved swiftly. They collected Franklin's DNA from a discarded pizza crust and matched it to the Grim Sleeper's profile. The silent predator of Los Angeles was finally unmasked. On July 7, 2010, the Grim Sleeper was arrested, bringing an end to 3 decades of terror. Despite the breakthrough in the Grim Sleeper case, a chilling question lingered. How did this ruthless predator manage to elude capture for so long? The answer lies not just in the shadows of the grimy alleyways, but deep within the societal fabric of Los Angeles. In the 1980s and 90s, Los Angeles was a city divided. The socio-economic gap was widening, and the marginalized communities were left to grapple with poverty, drugs, and gang violence. Law enforcement agencies were often overwhelmed, and many crimes slipped through the cracks. The Grim Sleeper exploited this chaos, preying on the vulnerable and the forgotten. His victims, mostly African-American women, were often dismissed as drug addicts or prostitutes, their disappearances unnoticed, their deaths unmourned. The media, too, played a role in this grim saga. The lack of coverage for these heinous crimes, in comparison to similar cases in more affluent neighborhoods, reflected an unsettling bias. Had the victims been from a different socio-economic background, would the case have received more attention, been solved more quickly? The Grim Sleeper's reign of terror also coincided with a time of significant change in the field of forensics. DNA technology, now a vital tool in solving crimes, was in its infancy. With no database or effective method to process the genetic evidence, the silent witness at the crime scenes remained unheard for years. The story of the Grim Sleeper serves as a chilling reminder of the societal factors that can inadvertently shield the most monstrous of criminals, allowing them to lurk in the shadows, unseen and unchallenged for far too long. In the heart of this chilling narrative, we find an unsung hero, a breakthrough that would ultimately lead to the Grim Sleeper's capture, the advancements in DNA technology and forensics. The 1980s and 90s were a pivotal time in the field of forensic science. DNA, the very essence of life, was beginning to reveal its potential as an unparalleled tool in crime solving. As we progress into the new millennium, the technological advancements in DNA analysis were staggering. The introduction of the Combined DNA Index System, CODIS, a national database that allows law enforcement agencies to cross-reference DNA evidence, revolutionized the field. It was this very system that would provide the crucial breakthrough in the Grim Sleeper case. In 2007, a familial DNA search, a relatively new technique at the time, was used. This method does not look for an exact match, but rather a potential relative whose DNA might be in the database. It led investigators to the Grim Sleeper's son, whose DNA partially matched the DNA found at the crime scenes. This connection allowed law enforcement to narrow their search, eventually leading them to the doorstep of the Grim Sleeper himself. The advancements in DNA technology not only unmasked the Grim Sleeper, but also gave a voice to his victims who had been silenced for too long. This case serves as a testament to the power of science and its crucial role in delivering justice, even in the face of societal bias and systemic shortcomings. Let us now delve deeper into the evidence that helped unmask the Grim Sleeper and the relentless pursuit of justice by law enforcement. Our journey begins with a chilling collection of crime scene photos, each one a silent testament to the horrors that unfolded in the dead of night. Each photo tells a story of lives cut short, of a city gripped in fear, and of a predator lurking in the shadows. As you view these images, remember the victims and the lives they could have led. Next, we turn to the news footage from the era, capturing the palpable tension that hung heavy over Los Angeles. Be it the grim-faced reporters delivering the latest updates, or the tear-streaked faces of family members pleading for justice, each clip is a stark reminder of the terror the Grim Sleeper instilled in the community. Finally, the law enforcement officers who worked tirelessly on the case have provided their accounts publicly of the investigation, the breakthroughs, and the setbacks. Their dedication, despite the odds, eventually led them to the Grim Sleeper's doorstep. Their voices echo the tireless pursuit of justice, serving as a beacon of hope in the face of despair. This Grim Sleeper case account is a glimpse into the dark reality that unfolded in Los Angeles during the Grim Sleeper's reign of terror. In this next segment, we reflect on the broader implications of the Grim Sleeper case. We consider how this case, like so many others, has shaped and influenced the field of criminal justice. The Grim Sleeper case highlighted the need for advancements in forensic science and DNA technology. It also underscored the importance of community engagement in solving such cases. Let's listen to experts in the field of criminology and forensic science as they shed light on how this case has transformed criminal investigations. They will discuss how the lessons learned from the Grim Sleeper case have been applied in subsequent investigations, leading to quicker identification and apprehension of suspects. We will also hear from justice advocates who will talk about the importance of keeping victims' memories alive and how this case has emphasized the need for victim-centered approaches in criminal justice. Finally, we will delve into the societal impact of the case, exploring how it has influenced public perception of crime and justice. So, join us as we explore the lasting legacy of the Grim Sleeper case and its profound impact on the evolution of criminal justice.